Man, I hear it every single day in my DMs, on the phone, in the studio. Artists telling me, Universe, man, this day job is killing my creativity. If I could just quit this 9 to 5, I could finally focus on the music and blow up. And I always have to stop them right there. Like, hold up, family. Let's reframe this whole thing because you are looking at your paycheck completely wrong. That job? It is not a prison sentence. It is your first angel investor. It is your personal, non-dilutive venture capital fund that is writing you a seed check every single 2 weeks on the dot without asking for 50% of your master rights or trying to tell you how to write your hooks. I remember back in 2014 when I packed up my entire life into a minivan in Ohio and drove straight down to Florida. I started from absolute scratch. Zero network, zero connections, no big budget backing me. You think I just sat around waiting for some major label executive to slide into my emails with a bag of cash? Nah, man. I had to grind. I worked whatever jobs I could find to keep the lights on, and more importantly, to fund my dream. I was putting my own active income directly into buying my first studio monitors, my interface, paying for my LLC filings. I was the executive producer of my own life. That Ohio to Florida move taught me that nobody is going to invest in your brand if you aren't willing to invest your own hard-earned dollars into it first. So when you go into work on Monday morning, I want you to shift your entire perspective. You aren't just an employee punching a clock for someone else's corporation. You are an entrepreneur. You are a sovereign creative entity using their infrastructure to fund your startup, which is your music business. Every hour you spend there is active capital generation. When you get that direct deposit on Friday, that is your investment round closing. It is a mental flip, man. Once you start seeing your manager at work as just some guy who is unknowingly financing your empire, the resentment fades and the strategic execution begins. But here is where most indie artists mess up. They get that paycheck, they get a little extra money in their pocket, and immediately they start throwing it into a burning trash can of vanity metrics. They spend $500 on some sketchy third-party Spotify playlist promotion that promises them 50,000 streams. Or they pay some self-proclaimed publicist $1,000 to put a generic press release on a blog that nobody reads. Let me break this down for you, family. Streams do not buy groceries. Fake plays do not build a legacy. You are renting your career on third-party platforms when you should be buying real owned assets. What is a real asset? It is your own corporate structure, like Down by Law Management LLC. It is owning your song masters outright so you control the licensing. It is securing your publishing administration. It is building your own website to collect first-party data, like email addresses and phone numbers, so you can contact your fans directly without having to pay an algorithm to reach them. Those are assets. They appreciate in value. They belong to you forever. If Instagram shuts down tomorrow, your email list is still yours. That is real business security. And if you want to scale your brand independently, you have to reinvest that day job capital into high-margin premium physical products. Take Soul Legacy custom footwear, for example. Instead of selling cheap $15 t-shirts that shrink in the wash, you can offer a premium, custom-designed sneaker that represents your lifestyle and your movement. It is a walking billboard. When your fans wear those shoes, people stop them on the street and ask where they got them. That is high-margin revenue that funds your next studio session, your next music video, and your next marketing campaign without you ever needing to check a streaming dashboard to see if you made a fraction of a cent. Now, how do we actually manage this money flow? You cannot be running your music business out of the same bank account you use to buy groceries and pay your rent. If you are doing that, you do not have a business, you have an expensive hobby. The very first move you need to make is setting up a dedicated business checking account under your LLC. Keep it clean. Keep it separated. Every time your day job paycheck hits, you have to establish a strict rule for yourself. I call it the 20% empire rule. Here is how it works. You take exactly 20% of your paycheck off the top and you transfer it directly into your music business account. If you make $1,000 a week, $200 of that goes straight to your empire. That money is sacred. It is not for eating out. It is not for buying new clothes that aren't merchandise. That $200 is your operational budget for marketing, trademarking, website maintenance, and product development. It forces you to operate within a budget and teaches you the discipline of consistent reinvestment. To make this work, you have to conduct a weekly financial legacy audit. Sit down every Sunday evening and look at where every single dollar in your business account went. Ask yourself, did this dollar bring me closer to ownership, or was it spent on hype? Did it buy me first-party data, or did it buy a temporary ego boost? If your expenses are not generating a long-term return on investment in your creative ecosystem, cut them immediately. Treat your money with the same respect a high-level venture capitalist treats theirs, because you are the investor and your career is the startup. I see this tragic mistake happen all the time, man. An artist gets a little bit of local buzz, maybe one of their songs gets shared by an influencer, or they have a good month where they make $1,500 from their merchandise, and they immediately go to their job and hand in their 2 weeks' notice. They think they are finally ready to go full-time. And then 3 months later, the buzz cools down, the bills start piling up, and suddenly they are in survival mode. Their creative energy is completely choked out by the stress of trying to figure out how they are going to pay rent next month. When you are in survival mode, you make terrible, desperate decisions. You start taking bad contracts. You sign away your master rights for a cheap advance just to pay off your credit card debt. You agree to bad gigs that degrade your brand value because you need the quick cash. Your 9 to 5 is your shield against that desperation. It gives you the peace of mind to say no to bad deals because your basic human needs are already covered. It keeps you in a position of power at the negotiating table. So when is it actually time to transition to a full-time creative executive? You do not leave your job based on vibes or temporary hype. You leave when the numbers make it impossible to stay. You look for the green lights, sustained, predictable product revenue from your merchandise or sole legacy shoe lines, and consistent contractual royalty income from your owned publishing and master assets over a period of at least 6 consecutive months. When your business income consistently covers your personal living expenses and your business operating costs, then and only then do you make the transition. Until then, hold down that job and let them pay for your empire. At the end of the day, family sweat equity and self-funding will always outlast the short-lived hype of a major label advancement. A label advance is not free money. It is a high-interest loan that you have to pay back with your own hard-earned royalties while they take ownership of your creations. When you self-fund, you keep your freedom, you keep your control, you keep your legacy. It is a longer road, yes, but it is the only road that leads to true, generational wealth through music. You do not have to walk this road alone, though. That is exactly why we built Down by Law Management and the Down by Law Artist Network. We provide the community, the strategic roadmap, and the professional management resources to help independent hip-hop artists navigate the business, make smart investments, and build a profitable career on their own terms. We are here to help you turn your active job income into a self-sustaining creative empire that belongs to you and your family forever. If you're serious about building a real career instead of chasing streams, download the free independent artist blueprint at downbylawmanagementllc.com. Then message me the word blueprint. No hype, just legacy. Until next time, keep building your empire one move at a time.